Or you say? Well, here it is. Welcome back to my video series, Who Did I Hire? Part 4. This is the story of how I went from hiring my stepsister to work at my dog grooming salon to getting her arrested for dog abuse and fired. So if you watch the first 3 parts, you know that my stepsister, we'll call her Lynn, she has a horrible mother, we'll call her Amy, that harassed my mother for marrying Amy's ex, my stepfather, Jake. And so this had been years of Amy hating me and my mom and everyone. I end up hiring Lynn to work for my salon, and things are going good. Amy starts to act like she likes me. People in Lynn's family are thanking me for taking care of her. I already went through all of that in part 3. And now we are in, this must be the year 2022. The year's coming to an end. We're heading into 2023. And things have not been great with Julia and Lynn. After Julia told me about Lynn being too rough with the dogs and the FedEx worker saying she saw Lynn hit a dog in the face. Of course, Julia had to be the one to tell me, so Lynn just lied and said Julia didn't like her, blah, blah, blah. So I install cameras in my salon to make sure that I can see if Lynn is doing anything when I'm not there, and also just to protect us in case someone accuses us of something. I have proof. It's just a good thing to be monitoring your business. And after I called Lynn out and got cameras, she was on her best behavior. Everyone was kind of getting along. Lynn, of course, would talk crap about Julia behind her back, and Julia wouldn't to me because it's my sister, but I'm sure she did. They just didn't like each other. It was a very awkward working situation. And so I'm living with my best friend, Derek, and he starts a contractor business, or handyman type of business, him and his hot friend. And I hire them to do a remodel on my salon. So this is January of 2023. I hire them for a week. We shut down for a week. I pay Julia and Lynn hourly to just come in and help us with the remodel. And my friend who I'm living with, who I had been friends with for years at this point, he was just about to turn 28. And my sister had just turned 18, but she was still in high school. She was going to finish out, that spring would have been her, was her final senior year. Him and Lynn during the remodel start to get really flirty, and it starts to get a little awkward. Just recently broken up with her boyfriend, and she was single and ready to mingle. She was on the dating app. She was hooking up with guys left and right. We're all 18 once. You know what happens. I even wrote in her birthday card, because her birthday was around Thanksgiving. And I wrote in her birthday card, I said, be a whore, just don't get pregnant. Truer words should not have been spoken. Okay? So she breaks up with her boyfriend, basically cheated on him. It was so messy. She cheated on her boyfriend. Then her best friend, she got into a fight with her best friend. So her best friend starts dating the boyfriend she just broke up with. So then Lynn goes after her best friend's ex, and they're just angrily dating each other's exes just to mess with each other. Just very toxic all the way around. So anyway, we are doing the remodel. Lynn and Derek are getting super flirty. It's getting really awkward. Derek keeps making funny comments of but that's just who he was, but to make comments of oh, your sister's hot or whatever, and I would just kind of laugh it off, whatever. But again, I would make jokes of okay, pedo, calm down, she's in high school. The remodel, we went for a week leading up to my birthday. Was the last day. My birthday's in January. The last day of the remodel we finished, we went to my house to have a birthday party, okay? When I leave Derek and Lynn at the shop, and I said, okay, we'll see you at the party later, I leave to go to my boyfriend's house to get ready. They are just alone, sitting on the couch in the break room, and I was I don't know what's going to happen here, but I don't want any part of it. Later, when I run into Derek, but when we're setting up the party, he says, "Oh yeah, I don't know if I can say this on TikTok. I fingered her on the couch and laughed about it." And I was like, "Okay, so he's just gonna hook up with her." So I'm just trying to play it cool, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to be like, "Okay, ha ha ha, like, she's an adult, do whatever you want." But inside, I'm like, this is weird. You are an adult man. You just graduated college, and she was about to graduate high school. I'm like, this is just crazy. But anyway, I played it cool. We have the party. I was gonna have Lynn come over and stay the night, and I was gonna let her have a few beers and just hang out and not drive or anything. Derek continues to like give her straight whiskey and just get her so belligerent. It's like awkward. So it's like a chill vibe. Like it's like a game night. It's not like a rave. We're all sitting there. They are so drunk that we're like all playing cards. Julia came over too. We're all playing cards. And then all of a sudden, like, they're just gone. And then we hear them upstairs like violently fucking. So we're like, okay. So then everyone's like, we're just gonna go. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll go too. So I go home to my boyfriend's. I come over the next morning to like help pick up the place and see how hungover he is, because he didn't drink that much. He is hungover and like so distraught. And he's like, I cannot believe this happened. He said that they like hooked up. He said, this is what he claimed, that she was like begging him to like hook up with her, begging him to like finish inside her. I don't know how to like say this for TikTok, like all this stuff. And then which he did, which that's on him. Okay, you're the adult. I know she was technically adult too, but bro, put on a condom. And then he said that she woke up the next morning and was like, oh, I could get used to this or whatever. And like he just like freaked out because he's a very like independent person and like commitment phobic. But he's all like saying this to me about my sister. And so I'm just sitting there having to try to just be like cool about it. I'm like, wait, what? Like, okay. So then he says she's not on birth control and I didn't wear a condom, so I need her to take a plan B. And so he said so while I was right there, he texted her and he's like, you need to take this plan B. And she said some like laughing emoji, like, oh, don't worry, I will, or something. And he's like, no, seriously. So then apparently he was like, okay, I'm just going to get her to take the plan B. I'm going to have her come over tonight. We're going to take the plan B. I was like, okay. And then the next day at work, she comes in and Lynn's all like, I had this romantic date with Derek, and didn't even mention like the plan B or anything, obviously. And I go to him and then I see him at the gym and I'm like, you had a romantic date? I thought you were just trying to get her to take the plan B. And he's like, oh, I actually like kind of really like her and we're gonna like, we're kind of connecting. And I'm like, you're gonna date my 18-year-old sister who's in high school? I'm like, what, are you gonna take her to her prom? Like, I was making all these like pedo jokes at the gym. And then we leave and he texts me later and he's like, I was very upset that you like mentioned all that at the gym in front of people. And I'm like, if I can't mention the age of the person you're having sex with in public, that's an issue. Like, straight up an issue. So this all basically put a huge rift between me and my best friend. And so I was just like freaking out. He's like dating her and I'm like, what? Like, no. After I gave him a bunch of shit for like dating a high schooler, he did eventually ghost her, which really pissed me off. And they broke up. And 9 months later, we got a little surprise. Go to part 5 to find out what the surprise was and to see what I eventually saw on those tapes.